Hey, Rye, let's take a look at this one, buddy. So, of course, we're talking about a sine function here, right? And I know that because it's telling us that the object begins at rest at position or at its rest position at t equals 0 seconds. So that means it's not moving initially, which means it's a sine function. All sine functions start at the origin. Now here this object is propelled downward. Get out of that. This object is propelled downward 7 inches, so that's in the negative direction. So if we want to think about just our equation in general, remember it's a sine like bx, right? Really, we could put that in brackets if we wanted to get fancy. So that's really what we're talking about here. Now the amplitude is going to be -7 because again we're going down and that matters, so it's going to be -7 times the sine because I know it's starting at its rest position. Now b, we have to figure that out, right? So the period, in this case, the period they tell us is 1.5 seconds, and remember that the period can be found, spelled period wrong, period is going to be 2 pi over b, right? Now we need to find b. I know what the period is, so let's do a little rearrangement. We can do some algebra, multiply both sides by b and then divide by the period, or because they are like inversely related, you can just swap them out, right? So I can say b is going to equal 2 pi over our period, which is 1.5. Okay? 1.5 on that one. And that's pretty much it, buddy. So at this point, though, we don't want to have like a fraction over a decimal. That's kind of weird, right? So normally what we would do, the little trick here, instead of having, well, I'll just write it over here, instead of having 2 over 1.5, what we would do is I would move the decimal one place. So I just have 15, and I'll move one spot and fill it in on the top. So instead of 2 over 1.5, I would call this 20 over 15, and then we could just reduce it, right? We'll divide top and bottom by, let's do 5, and that's going to give us 4/3. So instead of 2 pi over 1.5, I would say that's going to be 4 pi over 3. So again, now we can just write that in. That's going to be 4 pi over 3x. And again, I forget if they use brackets or not, but it really doesn't matter in this one. There's our equation right there, buddy. So I hope that helps. A little bit multiple choice, a little bit physics, but hopefully that made some sense. Let me know if it doesn't.